Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Tars Chronicles, where we talk to our users who've been leveraging Tars platform to improve internal efficiency or maybe use it for their customers, provide better customer experiences, or optimize their conversions. Today, we're speaking with Mark, who's been leveraging our platform to build a lot of AI agents for his clients and maybe for his own business, something that I don't know if he's using us for his own business as well. He runs he's a partner at a digital marketing agency and which specializes in lead generation and automation. He's been a long time user, a power user of the platform. And he has some real world AI success stories because he's been doing this for like I think 5, 6, or maybe more years at this point of time. So yeah, thank you so much, Mark, for being with us here today. Welcome on on the pod, and I'm curious to learn a lot of these details about the implementations you've done because I'm also new to what all automations you've been doing, right? So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me, Ish, and it's really good to see you and enjoy our conversation. And yeah, I'd love to be able to share whatever I can. I've had some really wonderful success, and based on the fact that you guys have designed a really great platform with a lot of integrations, and like we talked about earlier, I think I've been experimenting and trying to push the limits of the system. So I've been really enjoying it, and my clients especially have been getting the most benefits out of it.
So, I mean, just to kickstart, I did a little bit of intro based on what I know about you, but I think it'll be good to just give a little bit of background about yourself, maybe the agency as well, and what you've been doing with the clients, like what all services you've been providing with the clients. Where does automation come into picture? How do you connect like lead generation and automation? Like, if you could give a little bit background about that.
Sure, absolutely. So I've been doing this for a little bit over 23, 24 years now. And I've been specifically helping clients with pretty much all of their online needs. It started out being just websites. It started out being, helping them because that's all we could do at that time is websites. And then it grew as technology evolved, including, your platform, allowed us to be able to help them more. And usually when we work with the client, it's usually because they number one, they trusted us. I don't advertise. I've only gotten customers from referrals. And so I've been very grateful over the years to be able to work with people that understand what we can help with and what we excel in and whether or not they're a good fit, and then share that with their, friends and associates and maybe even family. But mainly it's now where we're going to is mostly lead generation and automation. And just like you said, lead generation and automation is our focus. And once especially with one of these clients, actually all three of these clients, we've done basically everything for them, everything from newsletters to, pay-per-click to social media, to automation, to customer service. We've built a customer service program, a customer service team for one of these clients because they're big enough to do that now. Right. And so we've really been, dipped our toes into a lot of the different areas of an online business. But in essence, it's usually everything that has to do with what they need, because most of them don't know how to run social media campaigns. No, they don't know how to run advertising campaigns. They don't know how to set up automations, chatbots, and AI agents and things like that. So that's why we are very grateful to be able to help them. And that's kind of our background and where we've been doing it. And so we have a small team of people that help every day and work with them and with the clients. And the clients are, I'm very grateful that they're very satisfied with their help. And with platforms like Tars, it's really made their life a lot easier.
Right. So how does because when folks think about AI agents, the first thing that comes to everyone's mind is it must be used in customer support, right? Like that's the first thing you think of, that small chat widget sitting on someone's website. I mean, I'm talking about the AI agents being used for customer experience use cases.
Correct.
That's the first thing you think about, right? But you've been on the other side where you're talking about lead generation being done, lead generation or customer acquisition being done through AI agents, right? So what's been your thought process? We'll come into the implementations, what you've been doing with these clients, but then what has been your thought process? Why? Because I'm guessing, like, what was, maybe you could talk a little bit about what were your, when you started, like, because like you've seen a couple of decades of how the industry has evolved as well. But lead generation used to be different, and now with AI coming into picture, how is it evolving as well, right? Because most of the folks think about customer support automation, not really lead generation when it comes to AI agents.
Correct. Yes, and we've actually done very well with lead generation, and I think you and I talked about this several years ago, where we took and what I saw is when your platform started offering the different functions that it did, the first thing that I thought of, even though, like you said, customer support was like the most obvious, the first thing that came to my mind is like, this would be a great way to send people to a chatbot at the time where, it's no longer, it wasn't an AI agent at the time, but that we send them to a chatbot and have them just basically give us the information that we need and then schedule an appointment for them. And I thought, this would be a great way to, because this is really what people want. They want something where they can see what, they don't necessarily, they can see a result. They don't just want to submit something and say, oh, that's it, and it's on a web page and that's what everybody else does. And so, I thought maybe we can stand out where we can actually have an interactive conversation with a customer or a prospect, I should say, at that point. And in our case, it was a auto repair shop that specialized in auto and they use their oil change specials as a lead generator. So we focused on that, and the numbers spoke for themselves. Literally from the time that we just did regular form submissions on a website, or even phone calls, which phone calls didn't even work that well, but when we started doing that, we saw numbers that we've never seen in terms of conversion rates. Because people like, a lot of people these days, and even back then, they don't want to call. They don't want to pick up the phone and talk to somebody. Most people are just like sitting behind their keyboard or on their phone, and they just want to take care of it and then move on with their day. And the chatbot at that time, it really made that effective. And the person can have a conversation with, they basically ask simple questions like, what kind of car do you have? When do you want to come in? What year is your vehicle? And that's it. And of course their phone number and email. But once that's done, that now they're off on their day. The person, the service advisor from the company called them, usually within 5-10 minutes, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, thank you for calling me back so quickly," because everything is literally like live. Everything is happening, and they get an immediate alert that something is happening. And it was, number one, it was an easy conversation for the customer. They just literally answered a couple of questions, and the bot literally returned their information, sent them the notice, and not only that, it texted the client saying, "Thank you very much for reaching out to us. We're going to call you shortly." And during business hours, they called within 5-10 minutes at the most, and it was literally the rates were anywhere from 25% to, if I remember correctly, to over 60% increase in their conversion rates, and that really built their business. They had more customers when we were doing that than they ever had before. And they had people literally standing in line to get an oil change special.
Yeah.
So, which is wonderful, because that's what we want. We want the clients to get results. We want the clients to be happy and get results. And so that's where we started with the lead generation. And so we are also testing now different ways of doing lead generation. We are focusing both on customer service, support, and lead generation. Those are the three areas where we're focusing on right now. And with the addition of AI into Tars, it really has helped us be able to do that, and more, not only more intelligently, but more efficiently.
Yeah, makes sense, because I think it's the same interface, but if you think about the entire user journey, they are a prospect at some point of time, but once they buy, they have like different set of questions, but it's essentially the entire customer journey that you can cover, or sort of cover the entire customer experience, not just the prospect or the post sales experience as well. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually, and what we did is we took the way that Tars allows you to integrate APIs, plus the AI aspect of it. We
Right.
combine the two, and so with the two, we can really cover everything.
Yeah.
We can literally cover everything, and because of the businesses that we work with, specifically the main customers that we work with on this, there is a specific need for using APIs, and it is checking people's payments, because these companies buy things from their customers. They don't sell anything. And so people obviously are always worried, oh, when am I going to get paid? When am I going to get paid? Well, how did I get paid? When did I get paid? All that. So instead of having people call all day or email all day, they can check live, literally live, with an API and an AI agent. It is the best combination of both, and I've never found this combination in any other platform. And I've been using it, as you know, I've been using Tars for many years, and you guys have really been adding all these little, I mean, some of them are little, but some of them are really big features that really make this possible. So in my perspective, that's why now that the AI is working wonderfully, everything's smooth. Like, like we said, whenever you add something new, there are going to be a couple of bumps in the road and things like that. But your team and I jumped on a quick call, and in 15 minutes we got everything resolved, and it was really, really smooth. And so everything was taken care of. But the combination of the AI plus the APIs, for our perspective, for our particular use cases, had been really the ultimate way of being able to help our customers, because not only it makes them more money by getting leads, but it also helps them save money by not having to hire 2 or 3 agents. So for example, one of my clients, basically they were getting over 50 to 60 calls a day. And it's not a huge company, but they only had one customer service person answering the phone. And so once we integrated the AI and we integrate, and the APIs have been there for a while, but once we integrated the AI with the API, those calls went from 60 a day down to about 25 to 30 a day. So half of the number of calls that they would have had to at least hire another person for $3,000 a month. So instead of doing that, they have now been able to just do what they were doing before, have that same person doing what they're doing, but now they can handle it. Now they're not overwhelmed. And so it's been a real blessing for them. It's really been a game changer. It really has.
I mean, these numbers are interesting, right? Because I think this is like real value add. Like, you don't get to, like see or hear these numbers, but the numbers that you're telling, like, one person handling 60 calls, and I'm guessing this number would just keep growing as the business grows. And you don't have to
absolutely
add more people to take care of those, increasing number of calls, and you can just automate a bunch of them. Why not? Right? I think it'll be interesting to see, Mark, because we've been speaking and talking, but once someone sees it live as to what the experience is, I think it's easy to relate also, right? So do you mind actually sharing a screen, maybe just walking, me and everyone through the actual experience of what it looks like, and maybe the the backend side things as well, as to how you build all of this automation.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me get this screen shared for you. Do I have the opportunity to do that?
You should, yeah.
Okay. Share. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this is working now.
Yep, I can see your screen now.
Okay, is with the lady standing up? Okay. Yes. All right. So this is one of our clients, and I have 3 clients that I'll share with you. 2 of them are not as complicated as the third one, but let me start with the easier ones. This client, all of these clients, they actually buy diabetic supplies from their customers, and so they don't sell anything. So we do everything pretty much backwards. So what we've designed in this one is to focus on number one, information about where they're located, their phone number, how to contact, the general FAQ. But what we integrated into this one is talk to our virtual assistant. So you can basically, and that's the AI agent. And so we integrated this into the regular chatbot that we've always had, but we've integrated it. And so people can just basically say, oh, how much do you pay to pay for just One Touch, which is a big brand. and to see whether or not what the agent says. Spelled there.
It should work. It should work, but yeah.
It should probably work anyway. You're right, because it does. And so it basically tells them, because we didn't want to give specific prices because they do change daily. So it says anytime somebody requests, to ask how much you pay, well, here's how to contact us. You do it. So you have another question, you type, you click another question, you say, what's considered damage? Because that's another question. People always ask that because they want to know whether or not they'll buy it. Right. So now here it answers their question in detail. What does damage mean? And so now the customer knows exactly what it is. And this also, when I was speaking of the calls before, that was not this client, but this client has also experienced the same thing, where they have received a reduced amount of phone calls, but an increased amount of people showing up, because this is a physical location. People go to their location. And if they're located in this customer is located in San Diego, so if they live in the San Diego area, people show up at the location, and that's what's happened. They've noticed an increase in people showing up, and they don't have to make a phone call, they don't have to ask questions, they don't have to email. It's all done, straight away. Now the second client is a little bit different. They basically have the API integration connected. And with this client, it's basically, it's checking the status of a quote is where the API. This one we haven't added the AI into yet, but that's our next job on this one. And so basically, if you add a quote, let me see here. It'll tell basically whether or not,
got it.
This is the API going back there. It actually connects to two different systems, and it goes through and it connects to WooCommerce, which is a very popular e-commerce system, and it also connects to a vendor for USPS to check whether or not the tracking information. And so if it hasn't been processed and paid, it tells you your quote or your shipment is in transit, or it's been delivered, or what date it's been delivered, and it tells you everything literally within seconds. You don't have to make a phone call, you don't have to call and wait, or text, call or email or text and wait for a reply. Everything is done real time. For especially this client. And then the third client is the one that has everything built in. This one has AI and APIs all built in, and you can kind of see that it's got a similar look and feel, but but this one also has, I have a question, but we put it right on top, talk to our virtual assistant. And this one this one we've trained the best to be able to, because this one has the most questions. Can I get a shipping kit? And then basically it replies to the customer, this is how you get one. If the customer wants to ask a question about, what's the status of my shipment, or of my payment, and then it basically tells the customer how to go, and it basically tells the customer, okay, you can check the status right here, and with the agent that you're talking to right now, just click these buttons, and just all you need is your quote number. So it literally is interactive with the customer to get real-time status. And this is the one that has reduced the number of their calls in half, and the number of questions that come in from customers by email and to their help desk has literally dropped down easily 25 to 35%. Just because, and if we look back into, and I'll show you into the back end for this one. This one's a little complicated. I was trying to push the limits with this one, with your system. And as you can see, it has a lot of moving parts that the customer goes through, and that we designed it to allow the customer to get literally real-time status through the use of APIs and through the use of AI, from from both sides. For us, the combination of APIs and AI has been the best combination, especially for these clients. But in essence, you really could do this for any business, for any e-commerce business, for any local business, for any business literally that does transactions. Right. There is most likely a way, because there's almost an API for everything these days. And with the use of AI, with the use of being able to train the AI on knowledge bases and websites, and question and answers, the combination of both, you can literally set up either a lead generation system, which, you can set up an API to pull, vehicle information. You can pull, the weather. You can pull almost anything from an API these days, and then combine that with the AI. So that way you have a nice conversation, and then you can turn it into, a real-time status checker, or, whatever that business needs, to be able to combine those two together, and literally not only save a lot of money, but make much more money at a higher conversion rate.
And if you switch back to the I think the last website that you were showing me, if you scroll up a little bit, but the answers that you're getting are very much specific to their business. So I'm guessing you must have trained them. Is it just on the website information, or did you just did you have any other pieces of information sitting there, the PDFs or something like that? Because, like, for instance, can I get a shipping kit is like very specific to their business. So basically at the core of it, you must have trained this agent on the information. But did you have like structured information? Did you have to create this information? Because to train the agent itself, you need some information to be available, right? So did you have all of this underlying assets or information or knowledge available, or did you have to work with the business here to create that sort of content as well?
That's a great question. So what we did is, number one, we scraped the website, which that's one of the ways that we can add to the knowledge base, is through the website. So we did that first. It worked really well, but we found that by adding a PDF with additional questions and answers, and I didn't really have to do much work with the client, but because we already had an FAQ page on the website. Right. So we basically took those questions and answered, and just basically turned them into an FAQ document, and we added them. We added some additional questions. So whenever, and this is how we stay on top of this, is that once a week we go in and look at all of the questions that are submitted in the back end. So we go in here, we go into the check data, and then we do the view and export data, and then we check basically what people are asking. And if the question is not in the FAQ or not on the website, then we add it to the FAQ, and all we do is just update it. We keep we just keep it in Google Docs, and then basically, if there's a new question that's added, that's that people ask that it's not answered, or that the AI didn't know how to answer, then basically we add it to that, and we just replace the old PDF with the new one, retrain it, and we're back in business. So it really is a very fast and quick approach to being able to train. Literally, we spend maybe 10-15 minutes a week updating things, because customers are going to ask new questions every week, right? They're going to ask something new. So we figured that that was the best way. So the combination for us was scrape the website, and then take the FAQ specifically, and then enrich them a little bit, and add a little bit more detail to them. And the questions, as you can see, they're answered. They're very specific, as you said, and they're very well worded as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a continuous process, right? Like, you can't just expect it to be, you just load the information and it'll just magically start working. I like the fact that you've been looking at what is happening, how are people interacting with the agent, what sort of responses it's giving, and then continuously improving the agent as well, right? Because at the end of the day, just like you build a website and then you look at the conversions, or you do conversion rate optimization of the website. Like, I think you're doing something similar, where you've implemented an agent and now you're seeing, hey, it's not able to answer this particular question. Why? And that generally the answer is because it doesn't exist in the knowledge base itself. So why not just go back and add it to the knowledge base? I think that's an amazing thing you've been doing, because I'm not just expecting that ideally I think they like we could do maybe something in the platform where we could pick this information and tell you specifically. I think that will be a good addition to the platform as well, where the agent is not able to answer, and then you get like an email alert every week or something of that sort saying, hey,
Oh,
Mark,
yes. Yeah.
these are the questions that the agent was not able to answer the last week. Why don't you take a look and probably add this to the knowledge base, like something along those lines, right? So I think
Sure.
that would be interesting as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. You're right. I agree with you. Yeah, it would definitely go, especially the folks that are short on time.
Yeah.
That would number one, remind them, and then help them, just guide them. Oh, this is what we need. So and it's an easy fix at that point. And it's been very simple for us to be able to update. Like you said, it's a very straightforward process, and training takes literally 30, 45 seconds. So it's 1, 2, 3. And so that's an interesting perspective you had. So I appreciate you mentioning that.
Yeah. One more thing I noticed, Mark, because since I think you started in an era where, it was primarily deterministic journeys, like it was very structured transactional journeys that you were building, let's say 4-5
Yes.
years. And then a couple of years back, GPT came in, and the whole LLMs came in, and now you can do a lot of stuff which was not possible earlier, right? Like the stuff
That's
that
correct.
today, that was not possible a couple of years back because we didn't even have it in the platform ourselves, right?
Correct.
Like AI agent possibilities, right? Now,
Correct.
but I like the fact that you have still kept it like sort of a hybrid approach between you want it to be, like be able to just go open-ended and answer someone's questions in an open-ended fashion, but you also
Yes.
want more control in some places, right? Like where you want that someone should be entering their order number or
Correct.
and you want it to call an API and get the results and showcase it here. I think you've followed like a good mix of control and being open-ended at the same time, so that the end user experience is good, right? Because
Exactly.
that's what you meant by API and AI. I think APIs are giving you more control and more determinism in terms of your user experience, and then AI is giving you more of that sort of conversational, open-ended nature, what people expect. But you still are following like a hybrid approach. You've not gone totally extreme and just doing the open-ended. I mean, I guess it is doable, and it would be possible in a few weeks or a few months. I'm guessing like we will be
Sure.
able to do that as well. But like I think people really want the accurate, like you can't be wrong. Like there has to be 100% accuracy in terms of the status of someone's order. Like you can't mess
Yes.
thing up, right? So, but yeah, I'm just curious to hear why, what's been your journey where it was totally structured, deterministic journeys to now sort of a hybrid approach where for some questions you have, like for instance, status of my payment, you're guiding them to, hey, you can still do that, but this is what you need to do, right? You're giving them a specific sort of a response, and then taking them into a deterministic workflow, because you're not saying status of my payment, you're not saying the next question as, hey, this is what's your order ID sort of thing. Like you're taking them to a structured journey. But I'm just curious as to why take that approach and not go totally on the other extreme of having totally open-ended journey.
Well, that's interesting. That's a really interesting question. Number one is mostly because we have the two APIs through two different systems already set up, and it works really, really well. So I didn't go into the exploration of how we can interface yet. I should say yet. Because we haven't gone into where having the AI agent be able to access all that data. And like you said, I believe it would be able to be possible to do that. And really, that's really our next step in building this. Because like you said, it was I have kept it as kind of like a hybrid approach where, we can use both systems and both ways. And it seems to work well. And actually, to be honest with you, it's about 50% now. 50% use the AI agent, and 50% people use the the quote lookup. So there, it's kind of like half and half. And so I didn't really want to mess people's habits up, because
Right.
they seem to be able to do really well currently with what they're looking for, and it's working really, really well. So I just didn't go to that next step because the company has many different priorities in terms of what they want us to do. So we just haven't gone to that next level. Although that is the next level, we're going to add AI to the other company, the second one that it doesn't have it yet, but we're going to add that next. And so we're slowly moving into combining as much free flow information through the AI agents as much as possible, because I find that to be the easiest. It happens to be the easiest. That's why I think we got up to 50% of the customers asking, rather than following through the buttons and going through a structured method. They like to be able to just ask the question. And that's the whole benefit of the AI agents, is to be able to have a free flowing conversation. And so I think that over time, I think that will be part of our strategies, to include as much as possible in that. And I think we can. And I think what we'll do is, we can probably remove, 90% of everything, that's currently in the menu, and just have the AI answer everything.
Yeah.
And that's where, and what we did is we started it originally just to see how people would react and whether or not they would use it. And then we saw that, oh, hey, people are using it. And so, now it's, about 50%, 45, 50% of the people are actually using that primarily. So now we're probably going to be, since it's already has all the same answers that are in the buttons, we're going to be starting to remove them and then just have everything in a free flow and see how it goes. We're going to do it in stages to make sure we don't alienate the customer base, because they're used to using the way that they are now. And, they like to be able to use it now. So I don't want to alienate anybody, but slowly I think that we can get there and move pretty much everything and see whether or not we can even get the quotes in there. I don't know if we can get the quote lookup through the two APIs in there, but I will try my best to see if it's possible. I know we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to, stop sharing your screen, because
Sure,
you see the whole the face in there. But yeah, I think that was good. I think once someone sees the actual experience, they're able to relate a lot more compared to just talking about how it's gonna work. But I think a lot of people, Mark, are trying to get into the sort of building AI solutions, either for themselves, for implementing it in their own organization, for their own business, or maybe just for their personal use case and for their business and for their clients as well, right? And you've been like sort of the one of the very early users. Like, I think you were one of the initial users of our own platform as well.
yes.
I'm curious as to what's been your first of the motivation. I think that's an interesting piece, because you need to be motivated to try some new technology, right? And also be at it, right? Because the technology has been evolving as well. So you've not just stopped at something which existed, but you've just kept up with the thing as well. But what was the sort of what's the motivation? That is one, in terms of building these AI solutions and learning more. Secondly, what's been the process in terms of the setup? Because it did look like something, like you've tried to just explore as much as you could in the platform. But what's been your setup process as well? Like, do you think about the end user experience first, and then try to see, hey, I want to this is where I want to get to. How could I just use this platform to achieve that? Like, what's your mental model to implement an AI solution as well? Because I think a lot of folks out there are thinking about implementing AI solutions, whether for their own self, for their teams, for their businesses, for maybe their clients as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, no, those are great questions. And so the first answer is in terms of the motivation is I've always looked for out of the box solutions and looking to be more unique for our clients, so that our clients can help their customers in the most efficient manner, but also in a manner that maybe is not like everybody else. Because if you do everything that everybody else does, you really don't stand out as much. And my belief has always been is, let's try to push the limit. Let's try to go outside of the box. Let's think creatively to see how we can accomplish these things. And I've always had that belief through everything that I've done in my business life. and even in personal. But just how can we accomplish this? And that was been my motivation, is to how can we accomplish this to make ourselves stand out, to be more unique, to offer something that, number one, that the client will benefit from, but also that that their clients will enjoy, and make it easy for them to interact with the business. Because that's really the bottom line, right? Is if we can get customers to enjoy their experience and make it easy for the customer, my clients' customers, to interact with the business, whether or not it's through support, customer service, or lead generation. Well, then now it's a win-win-win for everybody, and that's really what I like. Is I like those win-win-wins. And so if everybody's happy, if everybody's winning, then let's keep working on this and keep expanding those opportunities. And your second question is how we were thinking of the setup about this, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Is we're looking at the customers, what we want the customer to be able to do. So in this case, the first in this particular chatbot, we and AI agent, we wanted the customer to be able to answer 90% of their questions, literally from just interacting with the agent. And so that's what we designed it for. We designed it to, number one, okay, how can we do this to get the customer the information they need? They're always calling and emailing and asking for, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my box? Did you get my box? Did you get my box? So that was my first thought, is, okay, if that's what they're asking all the time, let's give them that solution real time. Let's give them and through Tars, we can do it. We can do both the real-time API and the intelligent questions and answers through the AI agent. So from both of them, we're able to accomplish that. And so I did it backwards. Is basically I looked at the customer, what they wanted, and then started designing around that, and designing how that will all interact. So we took the APIs, we figured out how, what process we'd have to go through, and then literally it's just stage by stage by stage. Okay, they do this first, they do this next, they do this third. And then so go through that and then build around that concept, build around the customer's experience, the user experience, basically, and how they would do that. And then we basically took everything until everything integrated, until we figured out how to do it. So it's pretty much seamless. There's really nothing that you have to do outside of right now is you do have to get a real-time status quote. You do have to jump back out and then go back to, check the status. But other than that, everything else is pretty much, they can ask any question they want to the virtual assistant, and it'll answer their question. And if it doesn't, then we add it in to the FAQ page, and we add it to the PDF, and then just retrain the agent, and within a minute, everything is updated and ready to go.
Right. This is super helpful, because you typically, I think, not much has changed. You're still, just like you build a website or a mobile app, you look at your customer's journey, right? You basically look at, hey, they're going to come on my homepage or my landing page. I want them to go here. But you were, I think, speculating at that point of time, because, hey, the user would click here maybe, but here, the user can't do much. They're in a chat interface. They have to, to move to the next step, they have to type something and move forward, right? So you don't have to speculate too much that, hey, would the user click here, or let me not confuse, let me not put a button here. It was like a lot of speculation and assumptions when it's a website or a mobile app compared to a chat interface. I think the basics, what you're trying to say, the basics haven't really changed. You're still looking at the end user journey and basically saying, where would they get stuck, and let me try to help them, right? Yeah, got it.
Absolutely. Because and that's really what I mean. And the bottom line is that you want the user to have the best experience possible, and at the same time have don't make it hard for them, make it easy for them, and let them enjoy the experience. And I have to tell you, we get so much feedback, and we named these agents, with a real name. So people talk to them like they're real agents. I mean, it's like, so even in some emails, and even in some testimonials from the customers of the customer, they say, oh, I talked with whatever the name is, and they gave me the answer right away. So it makes it a very interactive experience, and again, a lot of people have fun with it as well. So we get some really great positive feedback on the actual the way that it's set up and the platform itself, because it allows us to be able to do that. So yeah, it's a great experience, and not also to hear that the customers are having enjoying it and getting use out of it, because then so a lot of times people try to call or email at 2 o'clock in the morning and they can't get an answer, but here they jump on and they can get an answer immediately, and 80 to 90% of the time that's all that they needed.
Right. And so I think, that's interesting, because I was going to ask the next question, which was around the impact these agents have created. And you did speak briefly the fact that, they were receiving like 6,000 calls, 60 calls per day. It's reduced to 30 calls per day. But
Yep.
that's primarily, with the save money part of things. And there's
Yes.
obviously, like a make more money, because, like if you provide a good user experience, while someone has come on your website, you in a way make more money because your conversions have increased.
Correct.
But the other side of impact, which businesses don't tend to look at because it's very tough to measure, which is what my customer experience has been. Has my NPS improved because of something like this? Like the fact that you mentioned that one is, you don't have to hire more customer service agents to be servicing these customers, but the other side of the story is someone is calling you at 2 in the morning and or 2 at night, and there's nobody to answer that particular question, but the customer still wants to get their question answered and move on in their lives, but you just can't help, right? So I think which is very difficult to measure as well, and these are, like, I think, anecdotal evidence you get once in a while, tough to measure. But I think this is the other side of the story, which is also like good impact being created by these agents as well. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, just yesterday there was a nice lady that that was on Facebook asking some questions, and we redirected her to the agent, because the agent and it actually it's an automated system on Facebook as well, and so it directed her to the website and to the agent to be able to talk to this particular agent, and she got the answer she was looking for, because it was a very simple question, but she can look it up, and then she submitted an order onto the website. So I saw it's like you can see the whole process, where you can see the comment, then you can see the reply, then you can see the submission, and you're like, well, that actually helped. And you, like you said, it is anecdotal sometimes, but if you can see that more and more and more, well, now you're saying, okay, not only is this saving me time and money, this is making me money, because then that person can, like you said, can submit and move on with their life.
Yeah.
And otherwise they're stuck and they have to wait another 8-10 hours until they can call somebody.
And I don't think people come back. Like, people were in that mental state at that point of time. They were interested in doing something, but the next morning they have too many other things going on in their lives, and they don't even come back to this, right? And you've just
Absolutely.
lost business, right? Yeah.
That's the real thing, is that we want to be able to provide as many touch points and as many solutions for them 24 hours a day. And Tars helps us do that. It helps us be able to provide all those answers through, I mean, literally you could put so much information into that knowledge base that it can answer almost anything. So, I mean, if you think about it, and we're just touching just the small bit of it. I mean, look how much further we can go. Because really, one of the next steps we're thinking of doing is actually allowing people to, on a mobile phone, try to see if they could submit their quotes through the chat, through the agent.
Nice.
So that's something we're exploring. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but I'm willing to try.
That's the good thing about you, right? Like you try out stuff, it starts working, and then like you see impact like this happening. Awesome.
Yes, exactly. And because they're already enjoying using it, and it's easy for them to use. It's very simple. And it's literally whether or not the technology is possible. And so I will explore it and see if it's possible, because I think that would be an awesome way for people to do business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this just this has been an interesting conversation. Just one last question. I think based on what you've seen over the last 5-6 years of building these agents, and where the what you're seeing now,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any thoughts on where the whole industry is heading? Like, do you have any sort of suggestions for maybe other builders out there, who maybe, looking to just start their own agency, maybe focusing
Hmm.
on, because I'm seeing a whole new industry being created right now and I'm seeing a lot of these folks coming to our own platform where they're looking to start an AI agency, right? Like, which
Hmm.
is, hey, let me help these other businesses build AI solutions to automate their tasks, right? And not just on the
Hmm.
customer experience side of things, a lot of internal solutions as well, right? Hey,
Correct.
I've got an invoice coming in here in QuickBooks, do this, do that. Like, these are like internal optimizations being built as well. And these are a lot of young folks like who
Hmm.
basically are like, hey, this is because I think everyone knows that this is where the world is heading, and at least for the next 10 years or so, this is like the early days of the internet, right? Like, as I
Yes.
this is like the 95 or something like that.
Yeah.
Was too,
Exactly.
I don't really know, but I'm guessing it would have been that
Yeah.
because it's just very, very early days. People are just building very, very raw, basic solutions at this point of time. But I'm just curious to hear from you. You've like a lot of experience of how the industry has evolved and moved as well. Any advice, suggestions for all the next set of folks who are trying to enter into the industry? Yeah.
That's a great question, Ish, and I look at it this way: is if you can be curious, and because I've always been curious, I've been curious as how whether or not I can accomplish this particular thing. If you're curious and you look at and you just look at any business, what, like you said, not only external with the leads and customer service, but also internal process. Be as curious and look into research, ask questions, and find out what what your customers need. For example, ask some questions about, well, what are the processes that you normally do every day, and then ask them, and as they're explaining this to you, you'll automatically find out whether or not this is something that you can automate. And by asking those questions, you'll never find out unless you ask those questions, because every business has different processes. I was very surprised to learn about how some of my clients have been doing certain things internally. And then when I mentioned, when I thought about it, and I said, oh gosh, that would be so simple to use, automation to be able to do this. And they were like, oh, we never even thought about that.
Yeah.
And so just asking questions of, what do you do every day? What processes do you go through that take more than 5 or 10 minutes of your time every day? What do you have to hire somebody to do every day? And by keeping an open mind and by also being very curious, you can pretty much automate most everything these days. If you think about it, there is a way to automate it. And especially with something like Tars, that you have the ability to be able to use both the APIs, use the AI agents, use the knowledge base, use all the different functions that you can internally, so you can both help your customers and you can help your staff be more efficient. Whether or not that means that you don't have to hire more people as you grow, or whether or not that means that maybe you can run a leaner ship, whatever it means to be. But that is so valuable to the customer and once you provide at least one solution like this, they're going to stick with you forever, because you're saving them time and money, or you're making them more money, or both. And if that's the case, why would they ever leave? You're providing them a solution, and then why would they switch mid journey into another solution from another person because they offering $10 less a month or something like that? They won't, because you've created so much value for them that you're a solution provider at that point. And that's what I believe in this business, is that if you're a solution provider, you provide solutions to their pain points, to their things that either waste their time and money, or don't make them money, or impede them from making more money. Right. If you're a solution provider and solve those problems and those pain points, there's no reason why they would ever work with anybody else. You've providing them a solution, and then once they're in your system, well, then it's hard to change a system. And I'm not saying, oh, you're holding them hostage or anything, but once they use the system, they're used to it. Why would they change if it's working and they're saving them either time, money, and making the money, or both? Why would they ever change? Right. So you're then their solution provider, and then you become successful. You just do that the same thing, and you do it for 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 people, whatever it is that you want to do, and however much you want to grow. But I think that the beginning of it is curiosity and asking questions, and then keeping an open mind and saying, how can we accomplish that? This is my challenge. Have an open mind. This is my challenge. How do I accomplish?
Right. And also, like, I think I feel people, just try to scale too quickly as well. Like, curiosity is, like nothing starts without the curiosity, which is like, something so basic, but you have to be like
Correct.
really, really curious, especially right now, to just go
Yes.
out there and just experiment new tools. I think this was Naval Ravikant who'd mentioned that, at this point of time, if you have to get hired, just open these 5 AI tools, maybe like a Claude or a Perplexity or whatever. Just start talking to these AI tools, and then
Yes.
tomorrow you could go to a business and say, hey, I know how to use AI, right? Because it's so early that
Exactly.
people, while you might just assume that everyone is playing around with AI, not really. I mean, like there's like maybe 99.9% of the people in the world don't use AI as much even today, right? But awesome. I think this was great suggestions. Thank you so much for just sharing your
Absolutely.
screen and taking through all the stuff that you're building using Tars. Amazing conversation. I'm hoping this would be super helpful for everyone who sees this as well. So I think I feel
Likewise.
pretty good because of all the good things you've mentioned about us. But, yeah.
Well, and they're true. You're not paying me for saying that. They're true. Just to get it on the record.
Awesome.
You guys do a great time. You and your team have done a great job, and I really appreciate it. It's helped my clients significantly. As you can see, they're succeeding. So, the proof is in the results.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. I think we'll
Thank
just
you.
end the conversation here because I think it's been a long, uh, but a lot of value packed session as well. So yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Very much appreciate you asking me on, and glad to be able to share.
Thank you. Thank you.